Hi, I'm Trevor, and today we're going to talk about the Tesla Model 3 and some of its hidden details. Now let's take a look at some exterior shots of the vehicle. You'll see that they had three prototypes on display, multi-coat red, silver, and a matte gray finish. Franz von Holzhausen and his design team at Tesla did a fantastic job of the Model 3. It's a great combination of Model S, Model X, a little bit of Roadster, some would say a little bit of a front end of the Porsche, but overall, this is a stunner of a vehicle. The interior of the Model 3 is very simple, simplistic, very, very modern. This is ostensibly, I think long term, has to do a lot with Tesla's drive for much more advanced autopilot, self-driving technology. The Model 3 also features a single pane of glass on the rear. And you can see there that it's got a cross member across the top where the panoramic roof would normally start. There was a lot of discussion about what Tesla would do about the door handles on the Model 3, and you can see here that they went with a sort of an Aston Martin type design where you push at the back, the handle pops out, grab on it, and open it up. The prototypes had two door handle styles. They both operated the same way. The other one was on the matte gray vehicle, and it had Model S shaped door handles, but we were told that that is an earlier prototype, and the ones that will ship on the vehicles are the one you just saw here in the clip. One of the test riders managed to capture a little bit of a video of the interior door handles. They're not levers, they're buttons embedded in the grab handles. We're not too sure whether this will make the final cut, but it's interesting to note that they put this on the prototypes.
One thing that's maybe not obvious is, because it's so dark, is just how amazing the view is from the back seat.
Oh yeah. That's pretty amazing.
Are any of you Model S or X owners?
Yeah, all the above.
Excellent. So you know about the performance of Tesla's vehicles.
Roadster too.
Looks like we've got a little bit of cross traffic. It shouldn't be here.
So is the display going to be like this? Different?
Yeah, this is it.
It's going to be horizontal instead of vertical?
We really wanted to make sure that the passenger experience was as good as the driver experience. So instead of angling it towards the driver and having it be narrow, we wanted there to be space
Actually,
for the passenger.
It's easier to reach too, because for the driver on the S, there's some places you have to lean forward to get into.
The things at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the S still sets the standard for displays, but I think that this is a good solution for this car.
Yeah.
What other display options are there on besides just the map?
The UI has not been finalized, so
Gotcha.
I would say that this is at least some of the content that will be available, obviously.
To see. Got it. And by not having a big dash and hood right in front of you, you get an incredible view out the front of the car, and we have a really unique ventilation system. You can see there's not traditional vents. There's this
So I
single
saw.
slot.
Will that front piece of panoramic glass be openable or be retractable, or?
Up here?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll have both available both as fixed glass or as a metal roof or as a panoramic sunroof type roof.
So I saw all-wheel drive in the deck, but is it rear-wheel drive when it's two-wheel drive or front-wheel drive?
Rear-wheel drive. Yeah.
Rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, there's so much instantaneous torque in an electric car that
Yeah,
you really want rear-wheel drive. So we're, as Elon said, we're sitting quite a ways forward without having an engine up there. And then you guys are a fair amount back because there's no structure behind your heads, just a single pane of glass.
You guys have room back there?
There's a lot of headroom back
Plenty,
here.
yeah.
And
Legroom?
it's crazy
The
open.
glasses, yeah, it's just unreal.
Yeah, it's a really cool experience to be back there.
What sort of spec motor are these equipped with?
This particular one?
Yeah.
This is a dual motor car, and a little bit higher performance than 6 seconds 0 to 60, as you can probably tell.
So dual motor non-performance prototype? Would that be fair to say? Or we're not saying?
Yeah, we're not.
Gotta ask.
Yes, that's okay.
So is the single center landscape screen console, is that going to be standard across all cars or
Yes,
part
it
of an
is.
option package?
No, that's going to be standard. It's a really critical part of a Tesla because the fact that we don't have any mechanical controls for the car means everything in how you interact with the car is software upgradable. So over time, I mean, the way a Model S works today compared to the way when somebody bought it 3 or 4 years ago is completely different, from things like autopilot to the way you control the radio and everything else. So it's a really having that level of flexibility and software control over the car is a really important part.
And it looks like window overlays. Is it
Yep.
one main window and then one overlay? Is that the current version of the software?
Yeah, although we'll do a ton of work between now
Sure.
and launch to perfect that, and actually, of course, do it afterwards, even after we sell the car. So
And do they have the autopilot standard or just the hardware standard?
the hardware will be standard, and then the safety part of it will be standard.
So what's the
Okay.
what do you need to do?
Yeah, so the rear glass goes up and over your head, so you have a lot of headroom back there, and it gives you a greater sense of spaciousness in the back seat. So a car normally with this kind of profile would not have that much headroom, but since we have glass back there, you have more headroom than you normally would.
So about the screen,
Mhm.
how large is the screen here? Is the same thing, 17?
No, this is a 15-inch touchscreen.
Oh, it's a 15.
We had to proportion it to the...
Are you really gonna go landscape?
Yes, we are. The reason for that is we wanted both the driver and the passenger to have equal access to the information on the screen.
Oh, I see.
And, taking the binnacle away from the IP allowed us to put all that information on the screen, pushing the IP down lower, further away from the driver and the passenger, giving us a lot more room.
Right.
And then having a lower hood gives us greater visibility of the road.
Perfect.
But you really gonna bifurcate? You're gonna have a whole different UI. You're gonna unify the UI between the different product lines.
That we will have more information around production time.
In this next clip, you're going to see how the trunk opens on the Model 3. There's been a lot of discussion as to why they went with a trunk instead of a hatchback like on the Model S. And I believe it really has to do with the large piece of glass. They couldn't put a hinge at the top where it meets the panoramic roof. It would just cause the opening at the back to lift too high. So they didn't really have much of a choice. They really had to do a trunk on this vehicle. Again, here's the shot of the large glass at the back. You can see where the hinge would have had to bend to make it a lift back. It would have just been too big. Someone managed to grab a couple pictures of the frunk. It is obviously a little bit smaller than a Model S, but still adequate. Now I want to talk about some of the stuff that I found during the reveal, especially during the part where Elon started talking about the safety of the vehicle. It was interesting that behind him was projected a large 3D CAD rendering of how the Model 3 is assembled and built, and I was able to slow the video down very carefully, and I'm going to point out some of the interesting parts of the vehicle. Let's first take a look at the battery. Model S and Model X both use a Panasonic 18650 battery cell that's been modified to Tesla's specifications. It's been mentioned before by both Elon and J.B. Straubel that Tesla would use larger battery cells for the Model 3 in order to keep the costs down on the vehicle. We don't know exact size, but counting in this video, you can clearly see that the cell sizes are much larger in each one of the modules. Model 3 has 8 battery modules arranged lengthwise, and this is different from Model S and Model X. They use 14 modules, and they're arranged sideways. You can see here in the video that the front and rear drivetrains for Model 3 are on sub-assemblies. There's suspension parts. Here are the airbag curtains. Now you see the wiring. Just like Model S, you can see that the motor, transmission, and drive inverter are all packaged together between the rear axle. The black elements located here in the dash seem to indicate where the vents are for the interesting new HVAC system that they have. And here you can see the location of the 12-volt battery, and just below that is the front drive motor, and it's tucked in very tightly inside there. All three of the prototypes featured some new wheel designs. Happened to like this one a lot, so I took it upon myself to ask Elon and see if they were going to make it to production, and he confirmed it. Model 3 now features the same front end as the Model X, and I expect Model S to get this refresh eventually. This is the new design language at Tesla. The nose cone on the Model S was put there originally so to keep the car looking relatively normal until Tesla was essentially established. Now that their cars are popular, there's no need to have a large grille on the front of the vehicle as would a gasoline-powered vehicle. Now that they've removed it, there seems to be some controversy as to whether people like it or not, but might as well get used to it because it's here to stay. The center console on the Model 3 features 2 USB ports, and I think that's a vent there. The Model 3 with the matte gray finish featured a wood trim on the dash. None of the others had that, so we expect that to be probably an option later on. Well, that's about all the information we have for the time being. Sometime next year we should be able to get some more information from Tesla because they still got a lot of work to get this car finished and into production by the end of next year. Check out our forums at model3ownersclub.com. Thanks for watching.